Hey guys, welcome to Rusty Judgment, formerly known as Trucks and Tractors. There is a tractor here, and a truck, so I mean, it's still kind of. But so Rusty Judgment comes from, I have a lot of ideas, and I would say the majority of the time, those ideas don't necessarily end the way I think they're going to, hence Rusty Judgment. Alright, so today we're gonna declutter my shed. And by declutter my shed, I mean I've invited the minimal mom. So we're gonna clean out the shed so that I have room to work on the C10 build. And wouldn't you know, I got all my parts in from Summit Racing to build this into a wicked burnout truck. But it's all going back. My goal here is to do a 6-liter LS swap for free. I want absolutely $0 into it. We'll talk about that, this whole thing in a little bit.
All right, this question comes up really frequently. How do I get my husband to declutter his space? And so we thought we'd tackle it today. We'd go to like the messiest spot that Tom has here to talk about it.
So I'm naturally a very organized, put together person.
True.
This space does not reflect that. I think that I have no good way of organizing all this stuff.
Yeah.
And like I used to only have auto tools. So it was simple, you just have a toolbox. And then I started, as we have owned homes for a long period of time, like you start acquiring more and more things to remodel and fix houses.
Yep.
And then you will own a farm, and then you start.
And then you have the scraps of lumber and the insulation and all the leftovers from projects too.
Yep.
So what Tom wants to do today, he needs to figure out an organization system for this because there is some good stuff we want to keep, but there's a bunch of stuff that needs to go too, right? That you're okay with, you're ready.
Right,
to.
or there's like old appliances and stuff where it's like, we usually just garbage things or burn things, and you can't really burn or garbage an appliance.
But I do think if you can figure out a way to kind of organize some of this lumber and a lot of the stuff we're still using too, like siding we're not done with, stuff for the shelves we're not done with.
Right.
So finding a way to get it up off the ground so we can still store it and have it look good.
I'm super geeked out about this because I love it when everything has a home.
Yeah.
Like that's my favorite thing. If everything has a home, every time you're done with it, you put it back in that exact spot.
Right.
And you will always know where it is. Right now the problem is, like, we've never owned a place with acreage before. And so now we have multiple buildings, and I'll be working on one building, and then I'll go work on another building. And just yesterday, I walked around for a half an hour through 5 buildings trying to find my sledgehammer that I know I own.
That we still didn't end up finding. I had to go to my parents.
We still had to go to Dawn's parents and borrow a sledgehammer. So that right there.
So hopefully it's in here somewhere. It's got to be in here. Where is it? Where is it? Yep.
All right, so real quick, what we're doing here. 1984 Chevy C10. It's been lowered, built motor inside of it. I'd say bottom end built. It's got some good power to it, but I bought it to do Cleetus Cars event, the burnout contest. That was the goal with this truck. May 30th of this year, do some wicked burnouts, bring a smile to my face, and that was it.
So what were you thinking as far as storage for kind of like the lumber and the long like siding and stuff we still need?
I wasn't coming up with anything. You actually had a great idea, which, thank you.
I was gonna give you the credit.
So we're planning on eventually, like, I don't have a shop, I don't have a heated shop, or even just an enclosed space to work on vehicles at all on our property, which I really, really want. So we will eventually turn just this section into like an enclosed shop and put a garage door on that side. So
there's actually concrete.
There's concrete under just this third, which is odd that they ran it down one length, but whatever. Because there's concrete here, we'll enclose this off as a little shop, just like a one stall shop. But so I think what we'll do is we'll put some like triangular brackets that I made out of 2x4 or something, and make some racks so we can put extra lumber we have, all the siding that's still here for the rest of the house up onto it.
Yeah.
I'll probably take, there's randomly just laying over there, a piece of plywood. I'll probably make 2. I'll probably make 1 just for boards, 1 for like with a shelf on, that I can take some of the smaller stuff. Because the thing is, we have a lot of building materials that are just like all over the place.
Yeah,
so if we can organize the building materials that we don't want to get rid of because we know we're going to use them. And it's not in 10 years I'm going to use. It's like in the next 12
yeah,
months.
like actual use, yeah. Okay.
So we're telling ourselves.
Yeah.
So basically, I had 24 days to start the truck, get it ready for Bradenton, Florida, and get down there by May 30th. That has since changed. Cleetus Cars was postponed from May 30th to August 29th of this year. So that gives me an additional 2.5 months roughly. So what I wanted to do with this truck, before I picked it up, before I even got this one, was I wanted a rolling chassis, no engine, no tranny. I wanted to buy an LS, a 6-liter LS, 2-wheel drive 4L80E automatic transmission, and put a 373 posi rear end in it. Those are kind of the big things for my driveline. That's what I wanted to do. Then I got this truck. It had a fairly beefy built 350 small block in it, 750 Holley carburetor on it, TH400 3-speed automatic transmission in it. It goes pretty good, but we were on a crazy tight deadline. So I talked to the guy I bought the truck from, who is an engine builder. He gave me the specs of what he said to do to crank a ton more power out of the top end, be able to do what I want with it. So since then, I have bought everything that I needed. It's all shown up. I opened the boxes and peeked inside, and then found out that the event was postponed 2.5 months later because of what's going on. So I started thinking, you know what, like, first off, let me back up. Everything that I do, all the projects I ever build, I try and go as cheap as possible. If I can save a buck here and there, that's what I do. This wasn't gonna be that way. This was a lot of money sunk into a motor that at the end of the day, I honestly really don't want. Like, it's a great engine, don't get me wrong. I'm very grateful that this truck has the engine it has in it, and that we could build it into something greater. But at the end of the day, that's not what I want. So I think what we need to do, because now that we have 2.5 months, I think that we take the small block Chevy and the TH400 from this truck, yank it out, find a LS fuel injection, preferably find the air conditioning too, because it doesn't have AC. Find the air conditioning too, power steering, 4L80E, automatic tranny, shove all that in here, probably do springs and a cam and a tune, and honestly, that should be cheaper than these components I just bought. All the parts I just bought for the engine in here, everything I just said, the whole LS swap, should be cheaper than what these parts alone cost. All right, so here's this beautiful small block machinery. First off, anybody looking for a small block Chevy with a built bottom end, iron heads, 750 Holley carburetor, it should be putting around like 350 horse right now. It runs fantastic. I would also ballpark it to have about between 1,000 and 1,500 miles on the motor since it's been built. It's bored 30 over. It has flat top pistons in it. It has a comp cam thumper cam in it. I'm trying to think. It's got headers on. I'll include everything. I don't need any of it. All of it. Anybody want to buy this motor? DM me and we'll talk. I don't need any of it. What I ideally want, and what I wanted from the get-go, 6-liter LS with the tranny to boot, 2-wheel drive tranny behind it. What I believe I can do with this thing together is, I believe, and this is gonna be my goal, so I'll be completely transparent. All the parts that I ordered for this to build the current motor that's in here was $3,250. That's not everything yet. I'd say I have another 800 bucks to go to have this thing ready to rock. That makes me a little sick. Like honestly, that totally makes me not feel good. Like, that's way too much money to be sunk into this as it is. And then at the end of the day, it's a great engine, but it's not what I want. Like, it's not the reliability that I want. It's not the technology I want inside the vehicle. Like, it's just not what I care to have. I'm also a little concerned with building this motor the way that we're gonna build it, that it's not gonna be super streetable. Like, I wanna hit the highway. I wanna be able to go 80 miles an hour down the freeway and not have the thing screaming in the high RPMs. That's the other thing, with it being a 3-speed automatic, I would say if you're doing 80 miles an hour, the RPMs are gonna be up there. I don't want that. I wanna be able to just hit the highway and cruise. And I also wanna blow tire smoke. I know, I just want it all. Best of both worlds. Well, you wanna know how to get the best of both worlds? In a Chevy, LS swap it. Google it, YouTube it, look anywhere you want, LS swap's the thing to do. So it's what I originally wanted. Now that we got 2.5 months, it's what we're doing. Engine and tranny are coming out. And ideally what I would like to find, you can go 4.8 liter, 5.3 liter, 5.7 liter, or 6.0. You can even go 6.2 liter. I want it to be a budget build. I want it to be as cheap as possible. I want to do all of this for less than what those parts cost. I'm returning these parts. I get 100% of my money back. I think I have to pay a really small shipping fee to get them back. So this, I'm gonna sleep better tonight knowing that this is all on its way back. Sorry, I'm pointing to the parts I ordered. All right, these are old windows from the house. We were going to break all the glass out and recycle the glass and burn the frames. I think we're probably just gonna take all of it or have a dumpster brought in and get rid of them.
Yeah.
Along with a lot of the other miscellaneous things we've been collecting. So this all will stay here until we have a dumpster show up.
Yep.
I can condense it a little bit. What I want to do, I'd ideally like to find a donor truck. Like you can buy an LS engine with the wiring for like $700 to $1,000 for the complete engine. And then you could probably get the 4L80E transmission for $300 to $500 roughly. Granted, you'll need some miscellaneouses and like a wiring kit to make all that work in this old truck. So you'd maybe like another $1,000 on top of that in wiring and miscellaneouses. But what I want to try and do, that's just buying it separate. What I want to do is I want to buy a complete vehicle, runs and drives, something that I can test drive, something that I can run through the gears, check the mileage, plug in a scan tool and check for codes, see what the history on the vehicle is. When you're buying just a bare motor, there's a lot of questions that you don't totally get. Actually, that's actually a little concern of mine by selling this. But, so I would like to find probably a 3/4 ton Chevy or GMC, 2-wheel drive, 6 liter LS with a 4L80E automatic transmission. That's like what I would like to find. That's my ideal, because with a 6 liter, it comes stock with, I want to say 325 horse, but it has like 360, 370 foot-pounds of torque at that. If I throw a tune at it, and if I throw a cam and springs in it, I can clear 450, close to 500 easy. And then the torque will follow. Like these LS motors, your horsepower and torque follow each other pretty closely. Like this small block Chevy, if I could get 400 horse out of this, the torque isn't gonna be anywhere near it. You know, the gains on a small block Chevy aren't equivalent to like what you can gain out of an LS. And you can build them so much cheaper. So my goal is to find a running and driving truck for around $2,000. And then what I wanna do, I take the engine and tranny out of it, and then I will try and sell every little stitch a piece off of that thing that I don't need and try and recoup as much of my cost as possible so that in theory, that engine and transmission and wiring and everything I'm taking out of it cost me as little as possible. Then what I want to do is I want to take this engine and transmission and sell those pieces and be able to take that money and fill the gap in what I ended up hypothetically spending on the donor truck. And then hopefully there's money left over, and then that money will be used to buy miscellaneous things that the new LS will need. My goal here, and again, we changed the channel name to Rusty Judgment because my judgment's not necessarily the cleanest. My goal here is to do a 6 liter LS swap for free. I want absolutely $0 into it. I'm gonna make a tally list. What I pay for the donor vehicle and what I get for things I sell in it and parts I buy. I'm gonna make a tally list, and it's gonna be crystal clear to all of you how much money I'm spending on this thing. And at the end of it, I want that number to be 0 or I wouldn't mind if I made like $6 or $7 off the deal. I know, you think I'm crazy.
It's not perfect, but it looks a lot better.
All right, so we've been married for like 11 and a half years. This is the most of a shop I have ever had. So
Yeah.
This is fantastic. This is really great that I'll have a place that's cleaner to work on the C10. It's not perfect, Dawn's right, it's not perfect. What I wanna do next in here is rip all these off. I actually have like some really nice workbenches and like engine hoist and stuff that I've been storing at Dawn's parents for like a decade. I know, minimalist storing, I know, we don't even need to go there. So this is all gonna get ripped out. I wanna pop like 2 windows in because there's only just these couple windows from that wall. And I'd really ideally like to put a garage door in at some point in life, but that's probably down the road. So now that we got a shop to work in, we're gonna get back to the C10. I know I don't normally do this. Please like and subscribe. Follow along with the C10 build. I know that I have 2.5 months, but I've bitten off a little more than what we originally talked about. So by looking for an LS now, yanking that out, and plus everything else that I have to do to it, I think I got a lot going on. So stay tuned to follow along. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.